Hello everyone, I'm Shutapa Basu and I would like to thank Kavita Katha Karwa and Professor Jasprit Kaur for inviting me to this seminar about the tragedy of migrant movement across our nation today. I'm so glad of this opportunity to interact with you during this seminar, which is aptly titled, What Have They Done to Deserve This? So let me start with a poem which has really touched the core of my heart. So just listen as I recite to you. It's called Will You Walk With Me? And the poet is Anil Abraham. As you take your morning walk, can you walk this road with me? I have helped to build your house, sir. Can you share my agony? Just a few steps, not far, as the blisters taunt my feet. Can you share with me a sip of hopelessness and heat? No one cares, no second look, no plane to bring me back. My child on hips, my future bleak, my life in one limp sack. Unseen, unheard, no voice, no vote. The stream unwanted flows. No open arms, no petals fall. The sound of closing doors. My child looks up, eyes question me. To this nation do I belong? No time for migrants walking home, but for spirits, queues are long. And yet for those who labor low, we have no wheel or bus. No train, no food, no care, no speech, no fancy words or fuss. We walk the walk, you talk the talk, watch tragedy with ease. Society sinks in symphony, don't miss the real disease. Oh, give them cake if there's no bread, ignore their whines and noise, and they'll die down or disappear, a mass without a voice. Snap your fingers when you need them next, and they'll walk this path once more to build your home or lift your load or mop your marble floor. Migrant guest, you are like God himself, remembered only in our need. All other times not seen, not heard, just camouflaged by greed. These images will haunt us. The visuals take a toll. The hopeless queues, the bloodied feet, a nation without a soul. Atmanirbhar, too big a word, tags along my path with me. I am vocal and I am local, but nobody seems to see. যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে, তবে একলা চলো রে। তবে একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো re. If nobody comes at your call, then you have to walk alone. Walk alone, walk alone. Then you have to walk alone. Yes. They walk alone almost from the time that they are born. And they know that they are the have-nots, that they have to struggle. It's a part of their life. And they accept it. They decide to leave their homes, go to big cities to earn a little more so that their families back home can afford a few comforts, like 3 meals a day. When we go to buy groceries, vegetables, clothes to an open market, to a salon, to a medical lab, or to a doctor's clinic, to a school, it is these people who sell to us or help us or clean the place. Those are those same people who have come a long way from their homes to earn a little more. They work on construction sites in terrible heat or cold. They live in unhygienic shanty towns. Their babies bitten by mosquitoes, covered with buzzing flies. Their children not going to school. They work in factories, in farms, in brick kilns, clean roads and sewers. They work in your homes. Cleaning, sweeping, swabbing, cooking, dusting. They deliver our food and goods even when it is Sunday and past midnight. These people who are working far from their homes in very bad conditions simply to earn a little more. They do all the jobs that we, the people living in the cities, cannot do. They make our lives better, more comfortable, cleaner and satisfying. Yet, we crib when we have to pay their wages, try to withhold pay when they are absent due to ill health, and believe they are like machines that can go on and on and on. Today, when the entire world and India is grappling with the pandemic, we have thrown them out of their jobs, refused their wages, and closed our doors to them. What can they do? They have no money, no food, no place to sleep. They will do what every human being, no, every living creature will do. They try to go home. Does that sound strange to you? Is it unnatural to want to go home? But they are unable to do so because their homes are far away, remember? And no trains, no buses, no vehicles are allowed to move on the road. And every state border is closed. But these people who have always depended on the body that God has given to them, they remember that they have legs. So they decide to walk. But on the way, the police stops them, hits them with lathis, nobody helps them. They're dying on the roads out of hunger and fatigue as they try to walk hundreds of kilometers. People watch them on news channels, discuss how brave they are, but nobody gives a helping hand. No doubt, the poet says, the nation has no soul. Yesterday, the news channel showed a migrant family on the road. The father was carrying 2 children on his 2 shoulders and a bag on his back. The mother was carrying another bag on her head, and she had given her slippers to her little daughter, and herself she was walking barefoot on the burning tarmac. A reporter ran up to them for a bite, obviously. The father waved her off, mumbling, "We are fine. We have no problems." Even he knew that these scavengers had no sympathy for them. Nobody would give them even a sip of water, let alone a 10-rupee note. And do you know what happened to these people when they finally reached their villages? Either they were locked up in an unhygienic quarantine center, or the village did not allow them to enter, afraid that they were carrying the disease. One man was made to live on a hill, another man on a tree, until they proved that they were healthy. Why is it that we consider these migrants whose only fault was that they had come to work in a city less than human? How can we change things? Firstly, we must respect the work they do. Remember, much of that work you cannot do, so give them their due. Second, ensure that they get their just wages. Third, include them in the society as useful contributors to it. Fourth, ensure healthcare for them where they work. Fifth, business must spread across the country instead of concentrating only in the cities. Then, those people will get jobs where they live, in the villages. Finally, make them feel worthy and valuable. If you even try to understand what they face in their life struggle and how they lose heart, they never lose heart actually, but constantly try for a better tomorrow, you will realize that they are better human beings than many of us will ever be. Let me finish with this poem that I have written, where I'm comparing the girl who's working in my home to Devi Durga. It's called Ode to Devi Durga. Durga Puja? My little Juhi asks and giggles. Will we worship our Durga? She who sweeps and sobs our home? I look at her 5-year-old innocence and wonder, is it possible that her third eye has opened? Rupam Dehi, Jayam Dehi, Yasho Dehi, Divsho Jahi. There she was, the brilliant Devi, golden, radiant, 10-armed, venerated by incense, flowers, invocations. And here she was, my young Durga, husky, dusky-hued, wise beyond years, 2 hands juggling more than 10 jobs, yet taking time to slake her thirst for books from me. Lightning flashes from painted eyes as the Devi ferociously fights a bull-headed demon. Dreams lurk in Durga's dark eyes too. Daily she confronts the multi-headed hydra of poverty, malnutrition, illiteracy, of lechery luring from every street corner. Fiercely the Devi plunges her tyrant in 3 sharp points, drawing blood. My Durga also owns a 3-pronged trident of patience, determination and strength, nurturing it with her own blood. My Durga declares, I shall learn, I shall earn, until I stand on my own 2 feet. Certainly all odds I will beat, until I am able to raise more like me up the hill. You will see. Rupam Dehi, Jayam Dehi, Yasho Dehi, Divasho Jaya. Indeed, my Juhi has sightfulness. When life is consecrated into the idol, I am sure it is my own Durga who breathes in the Devi. I ask you, does it matter whether we worship the Devi or my Durga? For we adulate the spirit that rises from the quicksand of desolation. For we revere the vision that pierces the darkness of misery. For we honor the voice that is raised aloud against all injustice. Why do we wait to idolize Durga once a year? Why can't we constantly worship the innumerable Durgas around us? Why don't we identify with the Durga within us? I pray to Devi Durga, offering handfuls of starry Shivli. May you take the flame from their hearts and ignite the fire in my daughter's soul. To my little Juhi, I say, my fulfillment is in the lessons of passion, resolve and courage you learn from our Durga. She who sweeps and swabs our home. Rupam Dehi, Jayam Dehi, Yasho Dehi, Divashu Jahi. Grant us your form, grant us victory, grant us benediction, eliminate all animosity. Thank you, dear friends.